Hello and welcome back. My name is Marcus, and today we are going to talk about why the financial advice you've been following for years might actually be the reason you feel stuck. Forget the small stuff. Focus on the 5 major financial decisions that shape your future. Starting late? No problem. Consistency and wisdom beat time and foolishness. Stop counting pennies and start building your destiny. The latte lie. If you've spent any time researching how to get ahead financially, you've heard the same advice 1,000 times. Stop buying that $5 coffee. Pack your lunch. Cancel your Netflix subscription. They tell you that if you just cut out these tiny slivers of joy, you'll magically retire a millionaire. But here's the cold mathematical truth. It's a lie. Traditional financial advice is often designed to keep you focused on rounding errors, things that represent maybe 5 to 10% of your total spending, while you completely ignore the 5 massive decisions that actually determine your financial destiny. Think about a guy in Ohio who tracks every latte in a color-coded spreadsheet, but then signs a $600,000 mortgage because the bank said he qualified. He's obsessing over pennies while hemorrhaging hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. If you're in your 40s and feel like you're spinning your wheels, it isn't because of your morning coffee, it's because of the Big 5. These are the giant slices of your financial pie that most people decide on in less time than it takes to choose a movie on a Friday night. Today, we're going to stop tracking lattes and start tracking your future. Decision 1. The housing trap. The biggest decision of your life is where you live. Here is how the system traps you. The bank runs your numbers and tells you your maximum approval amount. You interpret that as what I can afford. It's not. The bank's incentive is to lend you the maximum possible amount because they make their money on interest. Your incentive should be to borrow as little as possible to meet your actual needs. Let's look at the math. A $600,000 home at a 6.3% interest rate over 30 years doesn't cost $600,000. By the time you finish paying, it costs about $1.34 million. Now imagine you chose a $450,000 house instead. The difference in interest alone over the life of that loan is $184,000. That is one single decision. If you had taken that difference and put it into a simple index fund starting at age 40, by the time you hit 65, that smaller house decision would have provided you with nearly your entire retirement nest egg. Decision 2, the car payment hamster wheel. The second decision that destroys the middle class is transportation. The average new car payment has climbed to over $700 per month. Because everyone you know has a car payment, it feels normal. But let's look at the opportunity cost. If you took that $700 a month and invested it in a diversified portfolio, earning a historical 7% return, after 35 years, you would have $1.24 million. Most Americans own about 10 cars in their lifetime. They finance almost every one of them, rolling negative equity from one loan into the next. You are essentially spending $130,000 over 7 years on a truck that will be worth $15,000 when you're done with it. That isn't transportation, it's wealth destruction with heated seats. If you are starting late, driving a reliable used car for 10 years instead of upgrading every 3 years is the single fastest way to add $1 million to your future net worth. Decision 3, healthcare, the hidden liability. The third decision is one people rarely think of as a financial move, your health. I've spent years around wealthy accountants and lawyers, and their richest clients aren't always the best stock pickers. They are the ones who stayed healthy enough to work and invest into their 60s and 70s. A major health crisis in your 50s will burn through your savings faster than any market crash. The average family health insurance premium is now around $22,000 a year. If you're buying on the individual market, you could easily spend $1.2 million over a working lifetime just to not die. The best financial leverage you have here is prevention. Taking care of your body, sleeping, managing stress, and eating well isn't just wellness advice. It's a high ROI financial strategy. The math on preventive health is more favorable than any investment return you will ever find. Decision 4, the education trap. The fourth big decision involves your children and education. For many parents, childcare is already a second mortgage. But the real trap comes at age 18. Most parents never sit down to calculate the net present value of a degree. They don't compare a $240,000 degree from a private university to a $40,000 degree from an in-state school. As a result, we have a generation starting their lives $100,000 in debt at 6% interest for degrees in fields that often don't require them. Don't let the cultural script of prestige schooling kill your family's wealth. An engineering degree from a state school earns the same as one from a private school, but it leaves you with $200,000 more in your pocket to start your life. Decision 5, lifestyle inflation. The final decision is the most insidious, lifestyle inflation, also known as the hedonic treadmill. You get a $5,000 raise. What's your first thought? Usually it's, what can I buy now? You get a nicer car or a bigger apartment. It doesn't feel like you're spending more because you're spending the same percentage of your income. But if you kept your lifestyle fixed and invested every raise you received from age 40 to 60, you could retire 7 years earlier. Most people are working class poor on six-figure salaries because they benchmark their spending against their neighbors instead of their future freedom. Real wealth is quiet. It's the gap between what you earn and what you spend. The 3-step action plan. So if you're tired of hearing about lattes and want real results, here is your path forward. 1. Audit your big 5. Is your housing cost taking up more than 30% of your take-home pay? Is your transportation more than 15%? If the answer is yes, you are bleeding wealth. 2. Fix just one. You don't have to overhaul your whole life today. Just choosing a more modest home or driving a used car for 10 years is worth more than 1,000 no Starbucks days. 3. Optimize the small stuff last. Once your big 5 are under control, the small stuff becomes fun. Go ahead and buy the coffee, enjoy the Netflix, because when the big holes are plugged, the tiny drops don't matter anymore. Stop tracking lattes and start designing your destiny. If you're ready to stop worrying about rounding errors and take control of your big 5, drop your age in the comments and write, "I'm starting today." Don't forget to subscribe. In our next video, we're going to talk about the decision fatigue that is actually causing you to fail at saving. Marcus, signing off.